What happens when a man loses everything? Not just his job. Not just his reputation. Not even the woman he thought he loved. What happens when the very last thing keeping him together is suddenly at risk of being taken away? Because next week on Coronation Street, Daniel Osborne's life doesn't just fall apart. It completely implodes. And the most devastating chapter may still be ahead. Welcome back to Coronation Street Update. If you love Coronation Street spoilers, emotional breakdowns, shocking theories, and deep dives into Weatherfield's biggest dramas, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because today's storyline is one of the most heartbreaking and psychologically complex stories we've seen in a very long time. This isn't just about scandal. This isn't just about betrayal. This is about a man slowly losing himself. And the terrifying possibility that he could lose his son too. Let's begin. For Daniel Osborne, the nightmare started with Megan. The woman he trusted. The woman he loved. The woman he believed represented a fresh start. But instead of becoming his future, she became the wrecking ball that destroyed his present. The revelation that Megan had been using their relationship to conceal her abuse of teenage student Will Driscoll shattered Daniel's world. Overnight his reputation was poisoned. His professional life collapsed. And suddenly people weren't looking at him with sympathy. They were looking at him with suspicion. Imagine how devastating that must feel. To discover that someone you trusted has secretly turned your entire life into collateral damage. But Daniel's pain runs deeper than public humiliation. Much deeper. Because Daniel doesn't process pain in healthy ways. He never really has. As actor Rob Mallard himself explains, Daniel's instinct isn't sadness. It's anger. And psychologically that makes perfect sense. Anger feels powerful. Anger feels protective. Anger creates the illusion of control. Grief doesn't. Heartbreak doesn't. Humiliation doesn't. So Daniel does what many damaged people do. He turns his pain outward. He lashes out. He blames. He explodes. And that's exactly what happened when Hope Stape performed her cruel poem mocking his relationship with Megan. The incident cost Daniel dearly. His suspension from school wasn't just a professional setback. It was another crack in a life already falling apart. And then everything changes. Because instead of facing his problems, Daniel runs from them. Or at least he pretends to. He tells Ken and Birdie he's escaping to the Lake District. A chance to clear his head. A chance to recover. A chance to heal. But it was all a lie. The reality is far darker. Daniel stays behind. Alone. Drinking. Hiding. Slowly drowning beneath the weight of shame. The image is heartbreaking. A once respected head teacher sitting in darkness, surrounded by disappointment and regret. Convincing himself that another drink will somehow make the pain disappear. But pain doesn't disappear. It waits. And then it returns stronger than ever. Unfortunately for Daniel, he doesn't have much time to wallow. Because another disaster is already living under his roof. Jody Ramsey. And what a devastating mistake that turned out to be. Daniel has always had a dangerous habit. He wants to rescue people. He wants to believe the best in damaged souls. He wants to be the hero. But heroes often become victims. And Jody may be the latest example. After being thrown out elsewhere, she manipulated Daniel into giving her a place to stay. At first she appeared vulnerable. Broken. Misunderstood. Exactly the type of person Daniel always feels compelled to save. But beneath that vulnerable exterior lurked something much darker. Something manipulative. Something dangerous. And Daniel never saw it coming. But perhaps, deep down, he did. Because sometimes the most painful betrayals are the ones we secretly know are coming. Then comes the shocking revelation. The anonymous online troll known as Truth Teller. The account spreading vicious rumors. The account poisoning Daniel's reputation even further. The account suggesting he knew about Megan's crimes all along. An accusation that could destroy him forever. And eventually, Daniel discovers the truth. Jody is Truth Teller. The woman living under his roof. The woman he trusted. The woman he defended. The woman he tried to help. What happens next is devastating. Because this isn't just another betrayal. It's the betrayal that finally breaks him. Think about Daniel's history. His mother left. Relationships failed. Trust has repeatedly been rewarded with pain. Again and again. The people he lets into his life seem to leave scars behind. The only exception? Sinead. The one woman who never betrayed him. The one woman who loved him unconditionally. The one woman he lost. And that's why Jody's deception hits so hard. Because it confirms Daniel's worst fear. That trusting people only leads to heartbreak. That everyone eventually leaves. That everyone eventually hurts him. And that's when things take a darker turn. Daniel heads to the Rovers. Not for company. Not for support. Not for comfort. He goes there to get drunk. Very drunk. The kind of drunk where consequences stop mattering. The kind of drunk where pain temporarily disappears. But while Daniel is trying to escape reality, reality is about to catch up with him. Back at home, Bertie is hungry. Waiting. Trusting his father to take care of him. Trusting his father to be there. Trusting his father to keep him safe. But Daniel isn't there. Not emotionally. Not mentally. Not when it matters most. And that's where the nightmare begins. Forced to fend for himself, Bertie heads into the kitchen. A simple moment. An ordinary moment. One that quickly turns terrifying. A fire breaks out. Suddenly father and son are in danger. Suddenly everything changes. Suddenly Daniel's self-destruction has consequences beyond himself. This isn't just a mistake. This isn't just a drunken lapse in judgment. This is the moment Daniel realizes how far he's fallen. And psychologically, the most devastating part has nothing to do with the fire. Sinead. Because years ago Daniel made a promise. A sacred promise. To put Bertie first. Always. To protect him. Always. To be the father Sinead wanted him to be. Always. No. He feels like he's broken that promise. The guilt is overwhelming. Crushing. Almost unbearable. Because in Daniel's eyes he hasn't just failed Bertie. He's failed Sinead too. The only woman who never betrayed him. The only person who believed in him completely. But that may not be the whole truth. Because Daniel's nightmare is still getting worse. When the rest of the family learns what happened, the reaction is explosive. Olya. Cassie. Everyone is horrified. Everyone is furious. Everyone wants answers. And Daniel feels trapped. Cornered. Judged. Attacked from all sides. The confrontation becomes emotionally charged. Raw. Follow. Dangerous. Years of buried resentment suddenly begin bubbling to the surface. Particularly when it comes to Ken. Because despite their improved relationship, old wounds never fully disappear. Daniel still carries scars from childhood. Still carries feelings of abandonment. Still carries anger he never truly resolved. And in a moment of rage, everything boils over. Daniel lashes out. The punch isn't meant for Ken. But Ken gets caught in the middle. And the symbolism is heartbreaking. Because somehow, no matter how hard they try, father and son always seem destined to hurt each other. And then comes the final blow. The one Daniel fears most. Social services arrive. Just imagine that moment. The knock at the door. The questions. The scrutiny. The realization that strangers are now assessing whether you're fit to raise your own child. For Daniel, it's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Because for the first time the possibility becomes real. He could lose Bertie. Not temporarily in his mind. Not hypothetically. Actually lose him. And that possibility shatters whatever emotional defenses he still has left. This is his wake-up call. His rock-bottom moment. His final warning. But will he listen? That's the question. Because rock bottom affects different people in different ways. Some rebuild. Some recover. Some rise stronger. Others sink even further. And Rob Mallard's comments suggest Daniel may be heading into even darker territory. What if this isn't the end of his downfall? What if it's only the beginning? What if losing Bertie becomes the catalyst for an even deeper spiral? A darker Daniel. A reckless Daniel. A man who decides he has nothing left to lose. That possibility is chilling. Because desperate people make dangerous decisions. And Daniel has never looked more desperate than he does right now. As we look ahead, one thing feels certain. Daniel Osborne is standing at the most important crossroads of his life. On one side is redemption. Recovery. Responsibility. A chance to become the father Bertie needs. On the other side lies self-destruction. Bitterness. Isolation. And potentially losing everything. Including his son. The tragedy is that Daniel still has a choice. The question is whether he'll make the right one before it's too late. Because sometimes the greatest villains in soap aren't other people. Sometimes they're the wounds we never heal. The anger we never confront. And the grief we refuse to face. And right now, Those enemies are winning. So what do you think? Will Daniel lose custody of Birdie? Can he ever recover from Jody's betrayal? Has Megan permanently destroyed his reputation? And is this the beginning of Daniel's darkest storyline ever? Let us know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for Coronation Street update. Because the drama in Weatherfield is only getting more explosive. And trust me, Daniel's biggest battle may still be ahead.